One man is worth over $200 billion, and he doesn't just buy yachts, he buys the shipyards that build them. Bernard Arnault owns the 101-meter Symphony, a glass-bottom pool monster most people never see. And here's the twist. We're not covering one secret boat, we're digging into 6. And the last one? It's linked to a tech legend and almost nobody connects it to him. Let's start with number 6, Symphony. This yacht is 101.5 meters long. That's longer than a football field. Symphony launched in 2015 and became the biggest yacht ever built in the Netherlands. Most people think yachts are for a few days of sun and drinks, then you go home. This one? It's more like a secret hotel floating on the ocean. Could you picture living full-time on a boat like this? Symphony hosts 20 guests but needs 38 crew just to keep everything running. Imagine bringing 10 friends and you'd still have almost 2 staff for every guest. Would you actually feel free, or would it feel like being on a reality show where everything is quietly managed for you? It's hard to even know who's visiting and who's working. You walk onto the main deck and the floor has a 6-meter pool with a glass bottom. Look down and you'll see straight through to the ocean. One deck up, there's an outdoor cinema, and even higher you hit a hot tub. Would you watch the movie or just stare at the water and wonder what's swimming under you? This thing covers 6 full decks and is set up with special rules so it works like a mini cruise ship, but for just one guy's circle. There's a team for engines, a team for food, and even people handling flowers and laundry. That's not just rich, that's hotel-level living on water. Symphony can run over 20 knots and cross oceans without thinking twice. How would your brain even process that kind of routine travel? And here's what really gets people. You can't rent it, you can't book a tour, and you'll barely see photos from inside. It's like a private world floating past, totally out of reach. So who's the person living this way, and what kind of life happens where almost nobody is ever invited inside? But if you think living in a floating hotel is wild, wait till you hear what Arnault did with his old science ship. Here's number 5, Amadeus. Amadeus started as a research ship in 1969. Back then it was all science gear and cold steel. Years later they ripped out the labs, left the strong bones, and built a rich man's explorer. Arnault bought it in the 2000s. Why? Because science ships are made for crazy long trips and rough water. Would you rather have a boat built for adventure or one that just looks good at a dock? Amadeus is about 230 feet long and runs on 2 huge Caterpillar engines. It could sail almost 16,400 nautical miles in one trip, close to 3/4 of the planet on one tank. That's wild. How would you even pick a first stop if you could circle the globe without pausing for fuel? Inside, it doesn't feel like science anymore. There's a glass elevator, a cinema, a gym, a hot tub, and even a spot for guests to tee off and smack golf balls into the ocean. Only about 14 people get to come, and more than 20 crew are working full-time to keep everyone happy. The point is to make you feel untouchable. This ship used to chase research, and now it's just quiet comfort floating across the world. When Symphony came along in 2015, Arnault sold Amadeus. The new owner renamed it but kept the tough hull. Yacht sites still talk about how it can out-travel fancier, newer boats. Serious design doesn't go out of style even if you change who's at the wheel. So you try out adventure on a tough converted science ship, then you build the 101-meter custom palace once you know what you like. The twist? Arnault didn't just want to own boats, he wanted to shape what everyone else could buy. That was just the warm-up. Now let's talk about a yacht that looks small on paper, but can actually embarrass the giants. Now at number 4, Princess 40-meter. In 2008, Arnault's LVMH bought Princess Yachts in the UK. That matters because now he wasn't just buying yachts, he was calling the shots at the factory. Control the supply, and you control the whole dream. That's how real power looks. The Princess 40-meter is called small, but it's over 40 meters long. about 131 feet. That's huge for anyone else. With a beam of 8.02 meters and 395 gross tons inside, it's a floating house stacked on another house. If you saw it in a storm, would you relax or keep glancing at the windows? You can bring 10 to 12 guests with 5 or 6 big cabins and a crew of 7 or 8. Fuel tanks hold about 29,345 liters, which means you could cruise 2,100 nautical miles without stopping. Imagine going from the south of France to Greece and back, never thinking about fuel. What does travel even mean when you don't have to pause? Boat International called the 40-meter a yacht built to a standard that would put many more expensive yachts to shame. So you're not just riding in style, you're making owners of bigger, flashier boats jealous. Why does this matter in Arnault's story? Symphony is a pure private hotel. Amadeus was a test bed. And the 40-meter became a product for the same rich world. With a theater-level salon, giant windows, and a rooftop deck, it feels like a moving sky bar where the view changes every hour. When luxury starts getting sold as a product line, where do you draw the line? The answer gets even messier when you see the next design. If you think that's wild, just wait. There's something coming up that changes how I see these yachts. Keep watching, because the biggest twist isn't even here yet. The third one, Princess X95. The Princess X95 isn't a regular yacht. At 29 meters long with a 6.7 meter beam, it's not the biggest, but it's tall and wide, with a super flybridge that runs almost the whole length. You walk up and it feels more like a small cruise ship than a regular boat. Would you call it a yacht? Or is it pretending to be a little ship? 6 guests can stay in 3 or 4 massive cabins with 4 crew making everything perfect. The Princess built it with help from design stars Pininfarina and Olasinski. The whole idea is more space, more glass, more home on the sea. Do you want to brag about having a yacht? Or do you just want to feel at home no matter where you float? Under the deck are 2 MAN V12 1900 engines. Each packs 1,900 horsepower and can push this thing up to 24 to 26 knots. When you can go this fast, hopping from one island to the next isn't a dream, it's a Tuesday. Soft beds, cold wine, and a moving view instead of plastic ferry seats. But if you never slow down, does it even feel like you've gone anywhere? Or does life just keep following you? So why does Arnault care? The X95 is the entry ticket. Symphony is for the top, 40-meter is the showpiece, and X95 is for anyone ready to buy the dream in a smaller package. Suddenly, a slice of the luxury world is up for grabs. And now the story pivots hard, because one of Arnault's shipyards decided to take on the fuel bill. Down to number 2, Savannah. Mega yachts usually burn fuel like there's no limit. Savannah, built in 2015 by Feadship, is 83.5 meters long with a 12.5 meter beam. It carries 12 guests, and the crew can hit 26 people. The real game changer is what's under the floor. Savannah runs on a hybrid system. 1 big diesel engine, 3 generators, a monster battery, and a special pod drive. The captain can switch between engine, battery, or generator, whatever saves the most fuel. Builders claim Savannah uses about 30% less fuel than other yachts this size. Over a few years, that's millions saved. Do you call that green thinking or just not wanting to pay for more fuel? Savannah won Motor Yacht of the Year. Brokers called it a trailblazer, and the minute one owner proves something can work, everyone else starts copying it. That's how luxury trends are born. Savannah's hull is all smooth lines and huge glass panels. Inside, there's a pool with a glass side, plus the Nemo Lounge, a spot where you sit at the waterline and watch the sea at eye level. You ever wonder how you'd feel living every day that close to the ocean? Would it relax you, or would it creep you out thinking about what's swimming right outside? Arnault is part of this because the same Feadship crew built both Symphony and Savannah. His world doesn't just own the toys, they help invent new ways to run them. And if you think you've seen the coolest thing already, Wait until you hear what came out of that shipyard for Steve Jobs. Now for the outlier, a Feadship icon tied to Steve Jobs with details people miss. And finally, number 1, Venus. Venus is 78.2 meters long with an 11.8 meter beam and a 3 meter draft. Feadship built it in 2012 all out of aluminum. Even with its modern techie style, it still packs 1,876 gross tons. So it's giant. The story behind Venus is wild. Steve Jobs ordered it, designer Philip Stark made it, but Jobs died before it was done. After that, Laurene Powell Jobs took over and has kept Venus intensely private. Imagine building your perfect boat and never getting to ride it. What would that feel like? It uses twin MTU 16V 4000 M73 diesels, runs at 20 to 22 knots, and can cover 5,000 nautical miles at cruising speed. Up to 12 guests, 22 crew, and the bridge runs on Apple computers. That's a Steve Jobs move if there ever was one. Even the outside is clean. Radars and domes are hidden so the lines stay sharp. Walk the deck, you'll see teak up front, a sunken jacuzzi, and wall-to-wall glass. Venus got a full refit in 2024. These boats get updated like phones. In this world, hardware is never done. You just keep polishing. The same Feadship world made both Symphony for Arnault and Venus for Jobs. So when people say Arnault owns yachts, they're missing the real story. His circle has a grip on the yards that build these icons for him, for friends, and even for billionaire rivals. If you can quietly shape the boats billionaires hide on, how much of the world do you really control? That's the world Arnault moves in, where secret yachts and secret deals shape more than you'll ever see. But there's always another layer hiding below the surface. If any part of this yacht life surprised you, drop your thoughts below. Want more wild stories and secret worlds? Tap the next video and I'll see you there. Don't miss out!